So, when I say icon, who do you think of? Well, for me, there's many people that I think of, but really the most iconic person that I can think of ever since I was a little girl, I've absolutely loved her, is Marilyn Monroe. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have some fun with this, and I wanted to introduce you to some iconic human design profiles, and today we're going to do Marilyn Monroe. I think I'm probably going to call it Human Design Icon Series, or maybe I'll do it like Projector Icon Series or Manifesting Generator Icon Series. Anyway, we're starting with Marilyn Monroe because she is just amazing and I think clearly misunderstood. And I'm going to take you through some aspects of her human design chart with you. It's always fascinating to learn about the human design chart of, celebrities, people in the public eye, people that you might be aware of on the TV or screen, or writers or authors or incredible leaders. And I'm going to be covering many of these people in this series. But Marilyn Monroe, I think, was considered a really complex character. And as I said, very misunderstood. So I would love to share her profile with you, and I just want to make sure that I've got it right on the screen. Hopefully you should be able to see this. This is Marilyn Monroe's human design. I knew about it already because she is like on my webpage. I love her. I talk about her a lot in videos and on blogs. And if you go onto my website and go onto the invitation, which is my online course, especially for projectors who are looking to learn ways to initiate the invitation as they are waiting for it, then Marilyn Monroe is on my webpage as one of the examples of really amazing women who were or are projectors. So as you can see by this, Marilyn Monroe, what I'm going to say is, because she might have passed away, but her energy is still alive. I don't think energy ever dies. She was and still is a 6-2 projector. So let's talk about her in the present tense, because I can just go over to my TV after this, and I probably will actually, and watch like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes or How to Marry a Millionaire, or oh my goodness, please put your favorite Marilyn Monroe films down in the comments below. 7-Year Itch, there's so many of them. I absolutely love them, and there's nothing that I love doing better on a Sunday afternoon if it's raining outside is making my mum's fish pie for Kev and I, and we'll roll out a Marilyn Monroe film. But that's by the by. Let's look at her human design chart. So Marilyn is a 6-2 projector. She is emotional inner authority. So you can see that hopefully you can see like my little pointy thing here going to this. But she's got defined emotional authority, emotional solar plexus, which means that she has got this emotional wave. So her inner authority is all around her emotional waves and getting to that place of very little emotional clarity, emotional attachment until she makes decisions. And I don't think she knew about that, because I mean, obviously I don't know her. I didn't know her personally, but I would hazard a guess that her emotional wave was just up and down, up and down, up and down. And she wasn't particularly waiting for anything. And with anyone that understands human design, I think that if she had learned more about her human design, about herself, how she could step into her true potency as a human design projector, I think that would have stood her in good stead, and maybe her life decisions might have been a bit different. Who knows? I don't know. I just truly believe that when you learn about human design, you can drastically improve your life. And as a projector, really understand the difference between success and bitterness. Now, there is no doubt at all, right, that she was incredibly successful. But was she vibrating at that higher level of success, or was she vibrating at that lower vibrational frequency of bitterness? I would say that she was flitting between the two, and that was very much part of her emotional wave. So I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Marilyn Monroe was a very magnetic projector. She certainly knew how to orchestrate the invitation. She was very magnetic and vibrant, and certainly she had the world at her feet. I mean, she is and still continues to be an icon. Absolutely incredible on screen and off screen, and certainly very magnetic and engaging. I remember listening to a story once on, I don't even know where it was. It might have been like well, it wouldn't have been a podcast because it was a long time ago, but I know that there was somebody that told a story about her once. They were walking down the street. I think it might have been New York, but I'm not 100% sure. They were walking down the street and nobody was noticing them. And she turned to him and said, right, watch this. I'm going to become her. And he was like, he doesn't really know what happened, but it was like a light switch had been switched on, and just her complete energy changed. The way that she held herself, the way that she walked, the aura around her changed. And all of a sudden, everyone around them just started to realize it was her and started to mob her, like rush towards her, magnetize towards her. And the reason that I wanted to share that with you, that as a human design projector, we all have the potential to do this, to be able to learn how to magnetize those invitations to be success, to embody success, to be in the energy and the frequency of success. But we need to learn how to do that, and also how to wait, to be invited into those things. I'm not sure whether Marilyn Monroe, why can't I say her name right? Marilyn Monroe, it's the two M's. I'm not sure whether she actually learnt the true magnificence and potential of patience and waiting to be invited, but she certainly knew how to switch it on. And I just think that that is a wonderful example, not just for projectors, but for anyone. You can like change your inner world, your inner perception. You can switch it on, right? And then you can start to be highly magnetic and start to attract attention. I guess the question is whether you want that attention. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love being recognized as a projector. I don't know if I want to be mobbed in a street in New York, but hey, you know, that was, I'm sure, part of the life contract that she'd signed up for, that when she was in the public eye, that she would have that attention. I think very often with celebrities, and having worked with celebrities myself, I think very often the shock is that they might have signed up to have that attention when they're in the public eye, but they never really realized the impact that that would have on their private life. And there's something very different to, you know, when you're out and about, an awards ceremony, or you're, you know, going and being paid to appear at an event, or you're on a movie set, or you're on TV. There's a big difference between that and, you know, going sunbathing topless in your garden and then having the paparazzi like stalk you. So she certainly had her fair share of that. So she is a projector. She's actually an energy projector. And the reason that she is an energy projector is that there are 4 different motor centers within the 9 different centers within human design. And so they're the heart, they're the solar plexus, the root, and the sacral. She's not a generator, manifesting generator, so she doesn't have her sacral defined, but she does have her root and her solar plexus defined. They are motor centers. Even though the sacral energy is the real consistent energy, there is certainly some energy that she can draw in from that. And certainly as a fellow energy projector with the same definition, actually, in my motor centers, I have my root and my solar plexus defined. I can certainly attest to the fact that very often it can feel like you can do all the things, but this is like false energy. It's not real energy. So it might feel that we're being given this energy or we have this energy, but actually it's not the consistent, vibrant life force energy of the sacral center. So even though it might feel that we can do all the things, we can get burnt out very easily. And she was definitely a great example of that. I mean, how many times have you heard stories of her not being able to appear on set because she was tired and burnt out, and, you know, having, I would think, some kind of like emotional episode to do with her mental health. But actually, I think a lot of it was to do with being absolutely exhausted. And many people can attribute that or say that she was lazy and that she, you know, had a really bad work ethic, etc. I think she had a really great work ethic, and I think she really tried hard. And that might have been to her detriment, because her open heart center, completely open here, right? Completely open. So when I look at someone who has got a completely open heart center, there might be some trauma there around, or deep conditioning around, trying to prove your worth. If you don't love yourself, if you don't know yourself, if you don't honor and value yourself, you're always going to be hanging your hat on the validation of others. And that's something as human design projectors that it's really important to do. I was actually speaking to someone about this yesterday, a beautiful fellow projector. She's a 5/1 projector, and she is a wealth coach. And we were talking about how important it is for us as projectors to stop hanging our hat on the validation of others and actually start to validate ourselves, self-validate, appreciate ourselves, love ourselves, honor ourselves. And when we do that, it doesn't matter if not everyone sees us, because here's the thing with projectors is that we want to be seen, we want to be recognized, we want to be noticed, we want to be valued, but not everyone is going to see us and value us. There were many critics of Marilyn Monroe. I'm a bit of a fangirl of Marilyn Monroe, so I would say I think she was very clever, very intelligent. I think that she might not have been like the most naturally amazing actress, but she really, really worked hard at it and really loved her craft and wanted to do the best that she could. And she wanted to be seen by everyone. Not everyone saw that. She had a lot of critics. There was a lot of criticism. There were a lot of people in the industry that didn't like her, that didn't have her back. That must have been really, really difficult for her. Really difficult for her. Especially with this channel here. So this channel here that attaches her root to her emotional solar plexus. This is the channel of synthesis, and this is all about community. It's about support, connection, shared values. People who have got this channel, if you have this channel, there is a high sensitivity around emotions. You're very sensitive. You're a very sensitive person. Okay, she was a very sensitive person. She needs that physical and emotional support, and that is what she seemed to be looking for all through her life. You know, with her real desire to be a mother. She would have made a beautiful, beautiful mother. She really would. and her husbands and her partners and, you know, all the other relationships in her life. It was almost like she had this childlike quality where she was just looking for someone to look after her. And, you know, who could blame her after her upbringing? You know, being rejected as a child, even when you're so young, is always going to be imprinted. It's always going to be some sort of trauma that you're carrying into adulthood. And then you have this real desire to bond, to want to bond with someone, you know, whether that's bonding with a child or bonding with a parent or bonding with a partner, with a life partner. And if you have this channel, the fear of rejection is real, because you so desire that community, those shared experiences and those bonds, that, you know, your biggest fear is rejection. Because when you're rejected, you don't have that bond, you don't have that community, you're cast out of the community. So that for her was a real fear, not only in her relationships, but also in her career. And how many times was she rejected within her career? Fair enough, most of the time because of her inverted comma, you know, poor work ethics. But poor work ethics in comparison to who? The generators, the manifesting generators of this world, who have sacral energy, that make up 70% of the population, that can work, and then go to sleep and wake up the next day and work. Well, of course, if she was being compared to actresses who were generators and manifesting generators that were lit up completely by their work, so basically as they were working, they were resting, well, of course she was going to look like she had a poor work ethic in comparison to them. And how many of you as projectors can relate to this? You know, comparing yourself to others, that you can't keep up with others, or other people comparing you to other people. Why can't you be more like them? That's why it's really important for us as projectors to really look for communities and ways of working that really support us. My projector clients learn to build their business around their projector energy. They're not working hard all the time. They have plenty of time to rest. They have plenty of time to switch off. Because if they are trying to act like a Manny Gen, which I'm sure Marilyn Monroe was trying to act like to keep up with everyone else and to please everyone else, then she would have been burnt out. She would have felt burnt out. She wouldn't have been able to show up in her pure vibrancy and her pure essence. If she had only known that what she needed to do was to inform everyone around her projectedness and the fact that these projector sleeps were really important to her, she could have built that into her contracts. So her working hours were built around her being a projector. Maybe, you know, her career, her life, her world would have looked very different. But it's all very well looking at this, you know, back and reflecting on these things. But the reason that I wanted to share that with you is because I think it's really important for us as projectors to really understand that. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to kind of share with you. This emotional wave, I just wanted to share with you just quickly before I sign off. And of course, if you've got any questions about Marilyn Monroe's human design chart, just pop them in the questions below, in the comments below. I'll be really happy to come on and share those with you. So for those of you who have got emotional solar plexus, and I would love to know in the comments below if you do, if you do, then you and I have got something in common, because I also have that defined. Human design teaches us to drop out of our heads and into our bodies. So we stop trying to make decisions with our heads, where really we're just guessing. We're guessing that something's either going to work out really, really well or not very well. And then we make a decision based on guesswork. What human design does is it teaches us how to come out of our heads and into our bodies, and to use our bodies as that decision making tool. And for those of you who have got a defined solar plexus, this means that you have this emotional wave that goes up and down. About 50% of the population have got theirs defined. 50% of the population has got theirs undefined. And if you have yours defined, you will always be an emotional inner authority. Goes up and down, sometimes high, 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 sometimes low, low, low. What's really important is that you don't make those decisions based on your high, high, high or your low, low, low. Who can relate to getting on to, maybe like you're in the coaching industry, you know, the personal development industry like I am. Who can relate to getting onto a call with someone who is trying to sell you their program or their offer, and they are trying to get you to make a decision on the spot? Like, I'm sure that you have been on these calls before where that person is determined not to let you off the call until you actually say yes. And it might be that you would say yes because you're so hyped up about the opportunities and the excitement of it all. You say yes. You might be just saying yes so you can get off the call. But you're saying yes, yes, yes. That sounds amazing. Like there's kind of like a little bit of like forcing maybe on that call for you to say yes, and then you come off the call and the next day you're like, oh my goodness, what on earth have I signed myself up for? And by that time you've signed the contract, you've sealed the deal, there's no going back, you're in that program for the next year. So if that has ever happened to you and you have got emotional inner authority, that means that you will be making your decision at a very high point, like emotional feeling. You're like, you're getting carried away. It's very, very exciting. Yes, of course I'll do it. And then when it comes to the cold light of day, actually, you really wish that you'd taken a moment to be able to reflect on that and make a decision. What you need to be doing in order to make those decisions using your emotional clarity is that you are getting to that place in your body where there's no emotional attachment really. You feel emotionally clear. You're not making a decision on anger. Again, hands up if you've ever made a decision on anger. I have many, many times. I've been like, fuck it, made a decision and then completely regretted it the next day, as well as making the decisions when I'm on a high. So you get to that point and then you can make an informed decision. And what happens is, as you're going up and down the emotional roller coaster, you're picking up the different nuances, right? And that is being able to inform your decision. The biggest piece of advice that I would say to you ever, if you're ever on a call like that again, is to say, you know what, I'm going to sleep on it. Or like if you're buying a car or something like that and they don't like it, right? Because they want the sale, they want you to say yes, and then they'll try and offer you everything. And it's like, no, I'm going to sleep on it. If you sleep on it, and then the next day there's very little nervousness in your body, you feel emotionally clear, that's when you can make a decision. I'm not sure how, well, first of all, I know that Marilyn Monroe did not know about it at that time because the downloads from Human Design hadn't even occurred yet. But, you know, if she'd have been aware of this and how to make decisions that really empowered her, again, I'm just wondering how different her life would have looked. Anyway, whatever it was, you know, in terms of how she lived her life and the decisions that she made when she was on a high, or the decisions that she made when she was on a low, or the decisions that she made maybe when she had very little nervousness in her body, there's no denying that she was an incredible energy to exist here on the planet. Wonderfully talented, very, very magnetic, and like I said before, a true icon of our lifetimes. And it's been a real honor to be able to tap into her human design. Human design is a bit of a rabbit hole. There's so many other things that I could talk to you about, like all the different centers, her environment, her incarnation cross, her other channels. She has another channel here, which is the channel of logic. There's lots of different things that I could talk to you about, but we don't have all day. Hopefully that's given you a bit of a snapshot and a bit of fun. And if you're a projector, then some insights into your own human design. As always, if you have any questions, then please comment below. I would really love for you to support the growth of this channel by subscribing. And if you would like to learn more about your human design, well, there's loads of videos that I have about it on here. And you can always go over to my website, abigailrebecca.com, to find out more. And if you are a projector, as I mentioned before, excuse me, I do have an online program. It's self-paced. It's called The Invitation. And it's all about how you can orchestrate the invitation as a human design projector, because I don't know about you, but when I first found out that I was a projector, I was like, fuck, seriously, I have to wait around for the invitation? I'm supposed to be running a business. So if you would like to learn how to really be able to orchestrate incredible opportunities and invitations in your life without burning yourself out, without having to push, cajole, chase after things which we're not designed to do as human design projectors, then I would highly recommend that you go and check that out. It's abigailrebecca.com/invitation. And I also have that link in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will see you soon.